29 degrees right here in the nation's capital. This is turning out to be one of the strangest Harmattan seasons ever. Good morning and welcome to Sunrise Daily. I'm Kayla Megwa.
Well, it's 33 degrees here in Lagos, at least at this moment. Well, good morning and welcome. Today is the 24th day in the month of February 2025. Some people are probably celebrating salary week or something already, but hey, what do I know?
Salary,
it's salary.
All right, where are you taking us to, Ayo?
Oh, I thought you were the one taking us to Osun State in
No, I heard that we're going to. Ikogosi. They said we should look at the springs.
Oh well,
this
yeah.
morning to calm down tensions.
And I'm actually wondering why you are even surprised at this Harmattan. Maybe if you moved to Ikogosi in Osun State, maybe you would feel different. But this is what Ikogosi looks like this morning that we'll bring into your screen any moment now. And yes, that is it. It's a beautiful place. It's a lovely place. It's a lush green place. Much unlike Kayla, what some people call jungle bricks or brick jungles or whatever you want to call it, that we have in major cities, urban parts of Nigeria. And it doesn't really matter where, be it in Kaduna, be it in Kano, be it in wherever. So long as they're talking about urban Nigeria, it's not likely to be this green. But hey, this is what we have in Ikogosi, the town in right there in your face. And I'm wondering exactly where we are finding ourselves this morning, because see, it is indeed a very, very beautiful place to look at. And I'm just amazed at the beauty of it all of the time. It is in southwestern Nigeria, and it's the only known confluence of warm and cold water springs in the world. Although, I mean, you're not unaware, Kayla, of certain parts of the world where we have different water meeting at different, places, and they don't mix. I've seen several pictures like that. I'm wondering how come. But Ikogosi is also one of those places, and the springs maintain their thermal properties as they flow side by side. And the resort has a hotel, a restaurant, has gardens and a pool. And it dates back, guess what, into the 50s, the 1950s here in Nigeria. So here you are, Kayla, one of your favorite holiday spots. I'm just not sure if you'll be able to do without your phone, because, well, yes, there will be network there, but if you want to take a mountain hike, what happens, Kayla?
The network doesn't work there. Let's just move on from the network, because I had to just drop my phone and just get used to not having my phone with me, because there was no way. You couldn't get any network in this place. But I tell you, Ayo, I've been here, hiked up this place. It was worth every penny, worth not having my phone. It was worth being away from the world for a little bit. You're correct. It's very old, 1952. In fact, there's a Southern Baptist missionary, Reverend John S. McGee, from his mission base in Ekiti, in Igede, apparently, went to the source of the hot and cold spring. He had heard about this particular place. And they told him initially not to go there, because there was going to be some kind of supernatural repercussions. But he did. He did. And, I want to quote him. He said, after seeing it, I felt that I could be used for a good purpose. And I think that's one of the overwhelming feelings you get after you're here. You just feel like, I can do good in the world. There's greatness inside of me. And if such a wonderful place and such calmness, listen, Ayo, it's green. And when I say green, I mean green, all right? It's green, it's quiet, it's calm. From time to time, we need to run away from this concrete jungle that we live in and actually just go clear our heads, have some peace of mind, and just remember how small you are. I think that's what happens whenever you go to these sites around the country, that it kind of reminds you of how small you are. No matter how important you think you are, no matter what your post is, no matter how big you're looked at, the truth is that you are nothing compared to nature. Nature is bigger and better looking than you. So just get it together. And I think from time to time, people really need to go to places like this just to calm yourself down and remember where you stand in the grand scheme of things. Ikogosi in Ekiti State, our skyline this morning. I should take you. I should take you there.
To be honest, I've actually been there. You know, this job that we have, you know, it takes you places. Part of the advocacy trips taken all around the southwest of Nigeria, I think circa 2010, getting the Houses of Assembly to at least agree that the Houses of Assembly at the time, needed to be autonomous. To be able to stand by themselves and be able to hold the governors of their day to account. And I think it's about the same thing we're still talking about this morning. Interestingly, Ekiti is neighbor to Osun State, where a number of things have been happening, and part of which we'll be talking about later on this morning. Anything happening today, Kayla?
Indeed, we do have some things happening today, and I want you to take a look at this. All right, so two major events. Well, there are a lot of events happening in the nation's capital today, but there are two major events. Number one is the case of Yahaya Bello. It's going to continue today in court, and we're looking forward to following up on this particular one. It's the war against corruption, one that we are all very passionate about. So that case involving the former governor of Kogi State, will be continuing today in Abuja, and we'll be watching to see what those proceedings are. It's always a very big event whenever this happens. It's at the Federal High Court right here in Abuja. It's always pretty rowdy. People are always trying to get a shot in here, trying to understand what's going on, trying to follow up on this. But we'll be there. We'll be there. So the war against corruption, Yahaya Bello's trial resumes at the Federal High Court in Abuja. And then we're switching to energy sufficiency. Nigeria, the rest of Africa, in fact, the rest of the developing world is doing everything to become energy sufficient. And the Nigerian International Energy Summit will be holding at the Banquet Hall of the State House in Abuja. And that is one that we're looking out for. I think Olu Phillips is going to be there this morning, just so we can understand what the plan is. We've had these summits over and over again, trying to see what we can do to ensure that we are energy sufficient as a country, as a continent, and as a developing world. How do we ensure energy sufficiency, especially considering the economic situations we face in regions like ECOWAS? So there you have it. Those are the major stories we have happening today. We're going to go on a short break. When we come back, a lot happened this weekend. We'll start off in Osun State and find out how these local government chairmen who have just been sworn in will be able to do their jobs without offices. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
We know what we went through when the Southwest was wild, wild west. We do not want wild, wild west. They should stay away from this zone. We just want to peacefully deliver dividends to our people. And nobody should resort to self-help. Even if you have court judgments, there's a process. Let the process go through.
I congratulate all newly elected council chairmen and councillors. You have the mandate to deliver a good governance in your respective local governments. I charge you to develop plans of action within the manifesto of People's Democratic Party, PDP. As our government is transforming the state for the better, I call on you to be agent of change, community developer, and deliverer of dividends of democracy. I urge you and your councillors to please stay away from the council secretariat to avoid any clash with those whom the police had aided to forcefully occupy the local government secretariats. We will rely on the judiciary to ensure a peaceful removal of those illegally occupying the local government secretariats.
The Osun State governor there, and really with the local government elections in Osun State, it does beg the question, what's going on? Is this really an election? How did they do it? Earlier in that same report, we have a track of the Osun State INEC person saying that the materials were locked up in their secretariat and the police are there. We saw the Attorney General of the Federation saying that they should not have this election because there is a court order that says this election shouldn't hold. They're already local government chairman. But the elections went ahead and held. And how did they hold? Of course, we've seen over the past few months local government elections in Nigeria, and we're seeing that from civil society, saying that these local government elections do not stand up anywhere near where the standards of local elections should be. And then, of course, there's the peculiar case of Ekiti. So we're going to have a conversation with some of the people involved in this process. We have with us Kolakpo Alimi, Commissioner for Information, Osun State, joining us via Zoom from Osogbo. Good morning.
Good morning, my sister. Good morning, our viewers.
Yes, and then we have Jamiu Olawumi, who's an APC chieftain, also joining us from Osogbo in Osun State. Thank you so much, Jamiu, for being with us on the program.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting us.
I'm going to start off with the Commissioner for Communication, Mr. Kolakpo. You know what we've heard? We've heard everything that's happening right now. We heard what the governor said. We've heard everybody's take on these elections. I want to get your thoughts on the controversy around this election. The Attorney General of the Federation said this election shouldn't have held. There is a court order according to him, not according to the APC. I'm talking about the Attorney General of the Federation. There's a court order that says that the local government chairmen have already been reinstated. So who are these new people? And how is this supposed to work out? Talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on that controversy.
Thank you very much. Before I answer your question, let me first react to your introductory statement that because the office of POSEC was sealed, how did they conduct the election? The office of POSEC was sealed in the afternoon of the day to the election. As at that time, the materials, the sensitive materials, other materials for the election had been distributed to the rack center. So that shouldn't be any problem. However, coming back to the issue of the Attorney General, and that is one of the reasons why the civil society has been calling upon the review of the Constitution for the separation of the office of the Attorney General and that of the Minister of Justice. And the Attorney General is an appointee of the President. With greater respect to our learned Attorney General, the learned Attorney General only reviewed the case which involved the PDP, OCS, APC, and others. The learned Attorney General silenced and pretended as if that is the only case that is pending. We have called on the Attorney General several times to equally review the judgment obtained by the APP. And so if you could recollect, sir, the learned Attorney General, Latif Bademir said, very respect to him, was the counsel to Itola from tribunal to Supreme Court, who lost. The Supreme Court rejected this argument. However, whatever the Attorney General might have said only occur in the realm of advice. There is a subsisting High Court judgment which made it clear that there is vacancy at the local government level and the associate to go ahead. That was supersede any advice given by the Attorney General.
I want to be able to quote you, Mr. Kolakpo. I want to quote the Attorney General so we can hear his words since he's not here physically. It's my opinion that the Court of Appeal judgment of 10th of February 2025, which is superior to any High Court decision, defines the legal position in this case and represents the only legitimate enforceable judgment and has the legal effect of returning the initially sacked local government democratically elected officials of Osun State. And he's also holding that the constitutional order that existed before the dissolution must be restored immediately, since the judgment upon which the governor acted to dissolve the democratically elected government has been declared a nullity for lack of jurisdiction of the court to have heard the case and made those orders. And then he appealed to Governor Adeleke to toe the path of law in the matter and not instigate unnecessary violence in Osun State. And he says nobody benefits from violence. Those are his words, sir.
Now let me respond to that. That's what I was telling you. Attorney General is quite right to the extent that why to be the only judgment of faith. The PDP judgment happened to be the only judgment of faith. It's very correct. However, the Attorney General has forgotten that there's another judgment obtained by the APP upon which there is a subsisting Court of Appeal ruling. So, which the APP, they are trying to dodge. So, we have called on the Honorable Attorney General to equally review the case of APP. You know, in that case, the Learned Attorney General did not make mention of the case of APP. He just dodged it. That is why we are calling on the whole world to call on the Attorney General. If the Attorney General is sincere, then the Attorney General is somebody who is knowledgeable. He knows the moment he ventured into the judgment obtained by the APP, which has been affirmed by the Court of Appeal, he will not be able to wriggle out. And he wants to do the bidding of those that appointed him. We are calling on the whole world to call on the Attorney General to review it. But at the same time, there is a subsisting High Court judgment now, which has said all the local government in the state Africans and elections to go, elections have been held. If they are dissatisfied with that, they should go to the Court of Appeal.
Let me get Jemiu Olaomi, the APC chieftain from Washington State, also to weigh in on this. And I want you to get your thoughts, Mr. Jemiu, on the fact that the Osun State governor says, listen, the newly elected local government officials should not resume at their offices. And the reason we've heard is because people from your party, the local government chairman who were sacked by the governor, have gone and taken hold of the place, and they are mounting guard there. So the governor has said, please, the newly elected guys, don't go there, because if you do, you know, we might have some violence. I want you to respond to that and to tell us your views on these local government elections and the new local government chairman who have been sworn in by Governor Adeleke.
Thank you, and good morning, Nigeria, and those who are watching this program. Starting from your introduction and the reports that followed, and the submission of Honorable Kolakpo Alimu, I want to conclude that there's a dance of absurdity in Osun for now, and the governor, Senator Nurudeen Adeleke, is the orchestra master. You cannot but be amazed when you see people and listen to them, especially those who are lawyers. I know that a common man on the streets will know that the Court of Appeal cannot override itself. There be judgment that Mr. Adam is claiming to have. The CTC that he has refused to bring and forward to the Attorney General of the Federation. You also agree with me that if the Court of Appeal decision of February 10, 2025 is anything to go by, if you understand the language of judges more than I do. But I know that in previous judgments, even the one I participated to cover as a journalist when I was active in service, you know that the judges have their peculiar case. It's either demand is granted or is allowed, or it succeeds. The argument of the motion of the appellant is succeeds or it fails. Nothing more that you find in any judgment. And as a lawyer, you ought to know more than I do. Second, if you look at the judgment of the Court of Appeal that was delivered, it said the appeal is allowed, and it awarded costs against the state, 250,000 naira. If you claim not to know what the Court of Appeal is saying, won't you also understand the costs that you are to pay as fine? That is one. Number two is election that held last Saturday was better described as Congress of PDP. This man with me, this is my very good brother, had 5 ballot papers at the frontage of his house, which was never a polling unit, and it is on the internet. Second, in my place, they had election at 4 a.m. And that was why the police and security officer engaged them in War 3 in effect. And as we speak today, the dance of absurdity that I earlier said is going on between the career officers of the local government in Osun State. They had a meeting yesterday. The people who have said they have withdrawn their service was there performing swearing in for councillors yesterday. They were also sending people to council secretariat to go and retrieve vital papers. They want to do change of account signatories at the bank. And in Ogun yesterday, somebody was arrested trying to break into the secretariat, and it was asked that he informed the police. There and then, we have the video that it was DPM that asked him to go and bring certain documents from the office. The same thing at Olaoluwa local government. The DPM himself, in red Toyota Camry, attempted to enter before the security overpowered and sent him away. The dance of absurdity continues. You see empty buses leaving Osogbo around 10, 11, leaving Ife around 10, 11, only to come back in the morning with a lot of men that look strange to our society. All right, Mr. Jimmy, I'm gonna have to cut you there because my colleague in Lagos has a few questions for you, and I'm sure that Mr. Kolakpo will want to respond to a lot of the allegations you've made against him. Go ahead, Ayo. Well, before we bring in Honorable Alimi, I'd like to ask Mr. Olaumi, particularly in the light of what you said about the dance of absurdities. Well, media reports has it that the dance of absurdities actually started from the APC, because even before the current governor took office, the Federal High Court in Osogbo nullified the elections that brought in the local government chairman at the time. And so the governor only issued an executive order to enforce that judgment before your party went back to court. So tell us about that. Ayo, when there's a judgment of the court and you have the right of appeal, should somebody come up with an executive order to sack you?
The point that I'm trying to make
listen.
I know, but respond with this. On the one hand, the government of APC organized an election. The court nullified that election before the PDP government came into power. So speak to us about that.
And they don't have right of appeal? Is that what you are saying, that they don't have right of appeal? Ayo. If you are taking a question, let me know. They don't have right of appeal.
I'm only asking questions.
And when
the point that I'm making...
Listen now.
Go ahead.
I think you know me. I think you should know me. If there's a judgment of the court, you are in office, you have right of appeal up to Supreme Court. Nobody should come up with an executive order to sack you. And lawyers listening to you as a Nigerians will take my position. That is number one. Number two is, if they have right of appeal and the appeal period has not lapsed, nobody should come up with an executive order to sack them. It's an absurdity. You may wish to take it or not, but it's an absurdity.
Well, the point that I'm making, I do understand you, but I'm not sure you understand the point that I'm making. The fact that the court even nullified that election means that even if the government of the APC government at the time had remained in office, or even if it was an APC government that took over office after the previous government left office, that election would still have been. Just a second. I'm not saying you don't have a right of appeal. I'm just trying to understand what necessitated a situation where a government would conduct elections and the court will nullify it if the rule of law was followed. It's just a question I'm asking.
INEC has conducted an election that has been reverted and given to the opposition. Now, even in case of Adeleke and Oyetola, did they not go on appeal? Don't say a court sack and that is the end of it. Then we are preaching facade.
All right, let me ask Mr. Alimi. Well, one of the issues that I think is being raised, by everyone concerned in this matter is particularly the Attorney General is just a point of law, Mr. Alimi. A point of law that is being raised by the Attorney General. That's one way I'd like to look at it, to raise this question. That, look, there is a court order that says that the Court of Appeals judgment should be enforced, should be followed. The same way the governor insisted that the High Court judgment be upheld, one would have expected that the same governor would say, okay, there's another court judgment here, let us enforce that as well. How come not, Mr. Alimi?
Well, thank you very much. Let me correct one impression created by Mr. Daniel Olawudi, that I had 5 ballot papers in front of my house.
I have the
First and foremost, I had wait.
Mr. Olawudi, please just allow him to land. Go ahead, Mr. Alimi.
2 ballot papers, one for the chairmanship and one for the councillors. The photograph is on the net. However, what the APC did not understand that the late General Lagbaja, the former chief of minister, hails from my local government. So General Lagbaja, when he was alive, was trying to impact on us. So he picked some projects to do, and it was the maternity health center in my polling unit, Ward 9 Unit 8. There's a video towards it. People will see how I entered the polling unit, and now I left. It was that project that was being renovated. He pulled it down, and he was building another one before he said. And the military came that they will conclude the project. It was in front of that project, which is my unit, and people will still see that during the general election, we will still hold the election in that place. So it is not correct. Don't let us divert this. Now coming back to your question, as per the issue of the Attorney General of the Federation, we have stated one thing, which they have not denied. When the judgment was annulled, the first judgment by the PDP came on 25th, before the inauguration of our amiable governor, Governor Adeleke. The second one obtained by the APC came on 38th November 2022. Now, the issue is this. APC appealed the 2 judgments. Don't let us confuse the words. They have right of appeal and the exercise. They appealed the judgment obtained by the PDP. They equally appealed the judgment obtained by the APC. When they go to the Court of Appeal, they discovered that there was nothing they could say about the case of APC. So they abandoned the appeal. Then they discovered that the case of PDP was actually filed prematurely before the notice was published. They pursued that one. Along the line, the APP went back to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal that this appeal has been abandoned and that it should be struck out. The Court of Appeal by January 13 struck out the appeal filed by the APC against the judgment of the Federal High Court, which are not the local election of 2022. And so that judgment became subsistent. They left it. Now, in the case of PDP, which is under review now, eventually the Court of Appeal nullified that judgment on the ground that it was filed prematurely and incompetent. And contrary to what Mr. Jami has been saying and what they have been parroting, they had 8 prayers before the Court of Appeal. The first prayer 8, you can ask him to read it out, is that the Court of Appeal should allow the appeal, and that is the language of the law. The Court of Appeal with them on prayer 8, they have the Court of Appeal to strike out the suit. Consequently, the Court of Appeal agreed with them. But in their prayer G, they have the Court of Appeal to reinstate them. The Court of Appeal declined. And so when you now see the two, when you take the two judgments together, the only judgment that is subsisting is the judgment obtained by the APP. And let the whole world know that even if it is a high court judgment, and you have the right of appeal, and you fail to appeal against it, it has the finality as the Supreme Court judgment. The mere fact that you fail to appeal against it, and it's a high court judgment, will not make you disregard it. Secondly, this time around, the Court of Appeal, they appeal. The Court of Appeal struck out the appeal, and that makes the judgment to be legally binding and enforceable. And that is why we say, if the attorney actually want to be sincere, he would have refused the circumstances of the judgment obtained by the APP and that of the PDP. So, as it is today, the only subsisting judgment is the judgment obtained, delivered by the Federal High Court, which has been affirmed by the Court of Appeal in the APP suit. And that judgment too has been given a place by the High Court of Ilesa. So there is no way they can dance around that judgment and think they will enter our country. Now let us now play devil advocate. Assuming without considering, I repeat, assuming without considering that they even have a judgment to be enforced. Our law, by Section 287 and pursuant to judgment enforcement procedure rules about self-help, what they're supposed to do is that they will write to the registrar of the Federal High Court, because the Federal High Court or even the State High Court has the power under the law to enforce the judgment of the Supreme Court or the judgment of the Court of Appeal. They will write with the CTC. The registrar will look at that judgment. If there is a first and another to be enforced, they will now write to the Commissioner of Police. With the belief of the court, it is then that the belief of the court, the police, they will now go to that premises. So what they are doing now is self-help. That is assuming they have any order to be enforced. However, they will not show that line.
I have to stop you there. I have to stop you there because Mr. Jamiu has been shaking his head before he injures himself. He has been shaking his head for the past 5 minutes. All right, just shortly as we wrap up, Mr. Jamiu, just your response to everything that you heard Mr. Kola say.
Thank you very much. Just in a few seconds, I want to say that I'm seeing a lawyer today who will posit that judgment of a lower court is superior to the judgment of the appeal court. You're also talking about enforcement. If the belief is coming, and then will it come to you or go to the Commissioner of Police? The Commissioner of Police has not denied that the belief brought the CTC. So you are only manufacturing facts, which are not correct. Then, at the first time I'm seeing a lawyer who will say a client cannot abandon his case. If you have 2 cases in the court and you have chosen one, why do you now say because they have not pursued it, they are liable? The case that has not been argued can be struck out.
All right, Mr. Jamiu, I do have to cut you there because we have to move on to another topic. But I want to thank you, Mr. Jamiu Olawumi, APC Chieftain, for joining us on the program, and Mr. Kolakpo Alimi, Commissioner for Information in Osun State. Thank you again for being with us on the program. And I'm sure this is a conversation that we will have again, because this bizarre dance has been going on for a while. But I want to thank you both, and we'll talk to you soon. Good luck with all the work you have ahead of you. It's a very interesting one there from Osun State. But I'm sure we'll continue to have this conversation. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we talk opposition in Nigeria and its ability to wrestle power from the ruling APC when they have so many internal problems. Another party held its convention over the weekend. We'll be hearing what happened there and the opposition to that convention. Please stay with us. The Action Alliance over the weekend held their national convention. But there are people who are opposed to that convention. They say there was a convention held in October of last year, and somebody was made national chairman, and that the person who's sitting here in the studio with me was expelled at the time. Join us in welcoming Mr. Kenneth Udeze, who's the national chairman of the Action Alliance Party. Thank you so much for being with us, Mr. Udeze.
Thank you, Ms. Keller. Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right, so let's talk about your convention and the opposition to your convention.
Yes.
We did reach out to INEC, in fairness.
Okay.
And I want to be able to read out what INEC sent. They weren't able to be with us this morning.
Okay.
But they sent us a message telling us, because what we asked the Mr. Rotimi from INEC was, in your books, who is the national chairman of the Action Alliance? And I want to be able to read exactly what he said. And Mr. Rotimi Oyekami, Rotimi Lawrence Oyekami, he says, Dear Kayla, according to our records, the Action Alliance chairman is Kenneth Udeze. There are some media reports that a certain federal high court in Osogbo, Osun State, has recognized one Omoaje as the chairman of AA, but the commission is yet to be served. That was the statement we got from Mr. Rotimi Oyekami. So talk to us a little bit about your convention and this internal wrangling that we have going on with Mr. Omoaje.
All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Well, Action Alliance, as Nigerians may know, is a party that was registered in 2005 under Professor Maurice Iwu. And from 2005 to date, we have held officially 5 national conventions. The national convention that took place on Saturday, 22nd of this month, was the 5th national convention of the party. The first one took place immediately after the registration of the party in 2005. Moving forward in 2008, we held the 4th national convention in Adamasingba Stadium of Oyo State. Moving forward in 2013, we held the 2nd national convention of this party in Abuja, that saw the likes of Batai Wibi Imagine before Tunde Anifowoshe Kelani took over. Moving forward in 2017, we held another convention, that is the 3rd convention. And in 2019, I came up, having served about 4 national chairmen as the national secretary, I came up as the national chairman in 2019. Now, what happened? Moving forward 2 years into my administration, we got a letter Sunday from INEC to say that some people wrote and said that they have suspended the national chairman. But the question is statutorily. Before you talk about expulsion of a position of a national chairman of a party, there must be a notice to the commission where such meeting took place. But there's nothing. So we were in court for over 2 years. And at the end of the day, the court in Abuja, before Justice Enajo Enenche, ordered INEC not to recognize any other person apart from the leadership of Chief Vice Kenneth Udeze. The man you made reference to that got judgment in Osogbo, actually the matter you are making reference to is not even a party to it. Neither Kenneth Udeze is a party. But moving forward, he challenged that decision of the court at the Court of Appeal. Yes, Mr. Omoaje. He challenged that decision of the court, High Court in Court of Appeal. And the Court of Appeal in February 2024 gave a resounding judgment and dismissed his appeal. He quickly ran to Supreme Court. Up to today, he's still in Supreme Court. But just like Mr. Onyekami said, the INEC person, I remain the authentic national chairman. Now, talking about the convention that took place on Saturday. In fact, it was a convention that has given a kind of warning signal to most political parties and other people, I call them political terrorists that do invade political parties to find how to hijack political parties. What Action Alliance did in Saturday was the 5th National Convention, and what the highlight of that particular convention is the extension of the tenure of the national chairman.
For 2 years.
For 2 years, for 24 months.
Was INEC at your national convention?
Of course, INEC was there, led by the Assistant Deputy Director, Mrs. Nkechi Abo, and 2 others. They were there. And what the party did was this. Having distracted and disrupted the tenure, a statutory tenure of 4 years of this leadership, the delegates across the state came up and moved motion. And you cannot extend the tenure of a a party leadership that has come to an end without, first of all, amending the constitution of the party. So somebody, a delegate from Akwa Ibom, moved the motion to amend section 33A of the party constitution in order to accommodate the fact that some of these terms that we have lost to litigation have to be extended. Ordinarily, I have, outside my administration, we have actually lost 3 years. But in order to make sure that we put the party in the plane that it's going to be, we decided that they gave us 24 months, and it was carried, and several other motions that were moved. But at the end of the day, what we have succeeded in doing is to stop invaders from coming to disrupt activities of political parties.
Are you referring to Mr. Omaje as an
No, not even Omaje. As far as we are concerned, he's not even.
He said he has judgment.
Well,
he says he has judgment.
Just like what is happening in the discussion you just had recently. There's no how Federal High Court can rub shoulder with Court of Appeal. It doesn't work. In the hierarchy
says he has Supreme Court judgment.
So, then has he ever produced the Supreme Court judgment? If he has, mind you, we have over 5 senior advocates of Nigeria in the commission, and they read also. These are people that dissect every judgment.
I get that, but you see, when you have a division like that in a party that, I think we're looking at the Action Alliance and thinking, okay, it's a small matter, and you're struggling with it. How will you wrestle power from APC?
No.
How will you win presidential election? And if you do get the votes of the trust of the Nigerian people, how are you going to govern when you can't put your house in order?
Actually, there is no political party in Nigeria that doesn't have 1 or 2 issues. But as far as I'm concerned, Action Alliance has been an envy of most politicians because of what we are doing and the way we are a very unique party. In 2019, when we won 10 legislative seats, 2 House of Representatives and 8 House of Assembly. Incidentally, just like what Section 68 of the 19th Constitution, 1G and Section 109 1G is trying to correct, these people, shamelessly left the party because of their so-called co-father decided to take them away from the party. So if the party has gotten what we call the financial watchers, who could have started challenging it at that time? Okay, moving forward now, within my administration, we're able to secure one local council seat in a chair in Rivers State. It's a party that is coming up. Comparatively, we have been doing a lot in Nigeria, in the Nigerian political system, to collaborate with other opposition forces to make sure that we rest of power. As far as we are concerned, 2027 general election, as we are moving forward, a lot of discussion is ongoing, and we know if we get our acts together, there is no how opposition cannot do very well. As far as we are concerned,
I want to take it to Ayo. Ayo has a few questions for you. Go ahead.
I really don't envy you, Mr. Daisy. I mean, that you're having to take this on at the time. Nor do I envy any politician at this time, because there are those who would wonder how come most issues are resolved in the courts. But let me ask you this. Are you aware, or rather, is it true that another political party, the National Liberation Patriots, has formally joined the Action Alliance? Is it correct?
No, Ayo, as far as I'm concerned, there is no party known as National Liberation Patriot. We have only 19 registered political parties in Nigeria, and the party you mentioned, the organization, not a party, the organization you mentioned now does not fall within this 19 political parties. So I'm not aware of any such political organization. We have not joined, we have not merged our party with any group. Discussions are still ongoing. We are working towards getting our acts together for 2027 general election. So there's nothing like such a name. I have not come across such name as the leader of this party.
Okay, but of course you are aware that there is such a man as Omaje, who is also claiming to be chairman of your political party. Now, how does your party resolve its internal issues? Because as you said, if it's taken 2 years to come to the point where we are, and there are still aggrieved members of your party with their own influences as well, it calls to question whether or not the stability you are talking about is sustainable.
I can tell you that the man you mentioned, his name is just a joker, because he is a state chairman. Incidentally, when he played the yeoman job he did for a certain politician in Imo State in 2019, for the mere fact that I, Chibai Sakene Tudeze, refused to challenge the emergence of the PDP in Imo State in 2019. as a gentleman, we had a coalition of United Political Party that was formed before the 2019 general election, where all coalition members agree that in trying to restore power from APC, that any political party whatsoever among the coalition partners that win any election in any state, we should not go and challenge as a coalition partner. And when it happened in Imo State, PDP won that election in Imo State, and certain forces wanted me as a national chairman to challenge that election. And as a gentleman, I said I will not do that. It's not part of understanding we have. So these forces now went to recruit this man you are talking about, who is the state chairman of the party in Osun State. We brought him back. His brother Tunde Anifowoshekelani had earlier sacked him from the party. But because we need people, we brought him back. And when this issue of trying to see how to oust Chief by Sakene 2 days came up, they recruited him. And having recruited him, he came all of a sudden and started using the media that he's now the national chairman. You cannot jump from the blues to become a chairman of a party, a state chairman. We are not talking about a member of the National Executive Committee of the party. We are not even talking about the National Think Tank Committee of the party, which is what is the highest organ, highest decision-making body of the party, but a state chairman. So we know him. What he's doing, he's just playing a dirty game. But we thank God that the Court of Appeal have dismissed his matter. And he's still busy in the Supreme Court waiting for the appeal he went to do in Supreme Court. And that is not even distracting us. The most important thing is that the commission, Independent National Electoral Commission, know who the authentic national chairman of the party is. We have gone past that stage. What we are doing now is how to join forces with our political allies, work towards winning election into, because as far as we are concerned, Nigerians are not comfortable with this present administration, and opposition forces are giving up together to see what we can do, particularly with respect to voter education. It's no longer a time that you use hunger and starvation to frustrate Nigerians moving forward towards election, so that when they bring 50,000 or 20,000 to voters, they will collect and vote. This time around, we are engaging in voter education, making sure that we tell Nigerians that their thumbprint is their power. And that is the only way we can use to move into Asorok, by the special grace of God. Well, that is where we are today.
It's interesting that, you're talking about this. And as you said, you're correct. Every political party has their issues, But it would seem like some have a way of managing it better than others. We are not unaware that the PDP, for instance, has been having its issues way before the general elections of 2023, and we saw how that division, how that divisive stance that they took willy-nilly had affected their fortunes up until this very moment. We also know that you are not unaware as well, that if things continue the way they are, and your party does not take charge of these internal wranglings, I don't even know if you'll be able to win another local government, just as you have said earlier. So how are the issues being dealt with? Those interests are important to be met, because as you know, this is a democracy. So what do you want Nigerians to understand about how these issues are being tackled by your party?
Okay, thank you, Ayo. When a political party, through the internal mechanisms, try to resolve issues among itself, yet the people who are involved don't seem to abide by the decision of the party and wish to go out to play the cards of spoilers from the outside, the best thing, that is the only time the court can come in. In as much as the court does not come to dictate what happens in internal affairs of political party, but it is the duty of the court to interpret the party constitution. And I believe it's based on the party constitutions that we have gotten to the stage we are today. You are correct with your analysis. But as far as we are concerned, sir, moving forward for 2027 general election, a lot is going on. We are not being distracted with all these skirmishes of litigation.
But it is instructive. My apologies, Chief Udeze. It's instructive. I wonder, Nigerians should wonder, and particularly young Nigerians who are aspiring to get to where you are and take over the reins of authority in their country, will be wondering how it is that grown men will agree through a constitution that this is how we want to be governed, or how we want to govern our affairs in this political party. And then, despite the agreement that all of them probably signed to, they still have wranglings that they have to take to courts to interpret. It's a little confusing, isn't it?
It's very unfortunate we have this kind of characters, you know, within the Nigerian political system, particularly we politicians. You know, not until we begin to respect ourselves and respect agreement and understanding, we cannot get it right. A situation where people that call themselves Godfather in politics will want to use other people to make sure they cause internal wrangling in the party. We cannot allow that, and that is why under my administration, we said and we believe with my team that our duty is to strictly adhere to the constitution of the party. For the mere fact that we are here today is because we respect every dictate of the Constitution of Action Alliance. If not, I should have been somebody that must have gone down the drain. Don't forget that in this leadership, they've kept me in prison in Elisha, in Oshobo, where this Omaje you are talking about come from. When they attempted to abduct me in 2019 after the election, recall that it was on news. Channels reported it. I was abducted from Abuja to Elisha. And when people started shouting about it, when the whole thing was on news, the attempt to kill themselves and not me now was punctured, and they turned it to be a criminal matter. For 5 years, I was traveling from Abuja to Oshobo. Before, it was just 3 weeks ago that I was discharged and acquitted in that matter. These are, you know, activities of political godfathers do. And that is what I want to remove from Action Alliance. I'm taking the party back to the masses that owns it. And that is why the leadership of the party in their wisdom said, no, if Kenneth Udeze should leave now, the Action Alliance is going down. It's better that the man that have brought us where we are under my leadership, I won 10 legislative seats. Recently, I won an election in the local government. Since the registration of this political party in 2025, by August this year, will be 20 years old in existence. We are one of the big brothers. After we are even senior brother to APC. When was APC registered? It's about 2 or 3 political parties that are senior brothers to Action Alliance. But because of interest of people who doesn't want to see, who doesn't want to see some certain faces, they are the people causing problem in the party. But as far as we are concerned, we are moving forward now. Everything is stabilized. The convention has come and gone. And what we are doing now is the next we have to plot with other political allies to make sure that we win election in 2027.
I mean, we're watching your party to see how things unfold.
Absolutely.
But congratulations.
Thank you, Kayla.
On the extension.
Thank you very much.
Of your tenure as national chairman.
I appreciate it.
For the next 2 years. And we're looking out to see what the Action Alliance has in store for the Nigerian people. Maybe in a few seconds, can you wrap up what it is that you're going to be doing for us as you get ready for 2027?
Yes, actually, in the next this remaining 24 months, first of all, I want to make sure that we establish an annual leadership lecture for fallen heroes in the party. Senator Suleiman Salahu, the first national chairman of this party, Alhaji Abdullahi Dogoli Gita, and one Princess Amaka Biogo, one of our House of Representative candidate that died recently. We want to set up an annual leadership lecture for them. Then, secondly, we want to engage fully. In fact, if there is any resources we have in our party account, we want to use it basically now for voter education. We want to move into schools. We want to move into the market. We want to tell people, tell Nigerians, the need for them not to sell their vote. And we want to push seriously with other of our colleagues to make sure that the National Assembly, in this constitutional amendment they are going through now, brings in the issue of electronic transmission of results. Let everything go digital. Let everything go electronic. So that at the end of the day, when you are voting, you are sure of what you are voting for. So we are going to partner with the CUPP, with the IPAC, with INEC, with development partners to make sure that more voter education takes place. That's the only way Nigerians can cast their vote and trust that their vote will be counted.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Mr. Kenneth Udeze.
Thank you.
National Chairman. I got into INEC.
You are very, very correct.
I got into INEC. Yes, because INEC said it.
Oh, that's what it is.
They say he is the national chairman. Whatever else has happened, we've not been served.
They cannot see anything.
Until they
It's
serve
a fake judgment. It's a fake judgment.
National chairman of the Action Alliance Party. Thank you again.
Thank you very much, Ms. Keller. I appreciate it.
We have a few messages. Pastor Law Alpha C is our first message this morning. Said for Governor Adeleke to swear in all the elected local government area chairmen and instructed not to commence work the next day only translates that there could be legal infractions questioning the legitimacy of the polls and need for continuous electoral reforms. Festus Akimboyewa has this one. Only a strong, incorruptible, autonomous local government system can hasten the development of Nigeria's rural communities and curb many challenges facing our country. Sadly, state governors have bastardized local government system in our country. Last Saturday's so-called local government election in Osun State showed how much local government systems have been abused in our country. And he goes on to say, what a shame. Well, we'll be watching to see all these developments unfold in the days to come. But it's the start of the week. Hey, start it right, look good, smell good, get your act together, and remember to be productive in all that you do. I'm Kayla Magwa. Thank you so much for watching.
And I'm Ayo Makinde. Have a productive week.